Hi guys, Tangsen here. So I found another listing. Actually, I saw this listing a couple of weeks ago, but I don't really have a lot of information about this blaster, hence I did not do a video on it. Now, as you can see, seems like a very simplified blaster. The whole thing itself is like one whole tube, and this is the entire body. And there's no screws. It's just a tube, right? So I find that this is pretty interesting, and then of course I do a little bit of searching. So I found some assembly video as well as a blog that talks about it, right? So over here I'll put the listing in the description. So I found a blog that actually talks about it, about the content itself, what's inside, and as you can see, it's really just a big body. So if that's the case, that means this portion itself is actually the plunger tube. So that's pretty interesting. And then of course you can see that the barrel itself is pretty long. It is 60 centimeter long, right? And then this tube itself is centimeter long, 4 centimeter as the external diameter, and the internal diameter is actually 3.6 centimeters. So you can consider if this entire thing is a plunger tube, well, it is pretty massive, right? So that is so later on we can take a look at this kind of the blog itself. Again, I probably only be linked to this blog itself. I think if you do not understand Chinese, I think you might be able to Google translate this. I'm not too sure what's the result is going to be about, but yeah, it certainly will be interesting. So let's take a look. Now if you go to the website itself, nothing much is being said, right? You just go down and then it's just one picture. Hence I didn't really did a video on it when I first saw it. I'm certainly intrigued. Then of course the seller also sells some form of a kind of a rifling kind of attachment, I think, for the increasing of the accuracy, right? So this blaster is called the SweetHeart, right? Okay, so we already pull your heartstrings. Let's take a look. I found a assembly video and I find it interesting, and we can discuss a few things that we see. Okay, so this is the video itself. Straight away you can see that, oh, this whole thing, it seems to be inserted into the tube, and this is like the so-called the pusher, the bolt. And if the entire tube is the so-called the plunger tube, then this place you've got to make sure that it must be put as sealed, right? So later on we'll take a look at the so-called firing testing of air seal. I also found that, and yeah, right. So and the entire tube over here, this other part that I find interesting, this plunger over here. Now normally we have something to catch, right? So it's over here. It seems like this is the portion whereby you are supposed to catch it. This portion is round, and I saw later on in the video they uses a ball bearing as a catch. That's interesting. Look, right? So let's just look through the video a little bit. Okay, just look at other things inside. So you can see that at the corner itself also. Okay, let me just let it run first. Alright, okay, so you just go through the content itself here. Alright, so over here you can see that this entire thing, by the way, it takes Allen Walker mag. Yeah. So now the trigger itself is going to go here, but there's nothing internal that's going to so-called interact with it. It's actually going to be an external interact. So let's maybe jump to the part whereby it shows the trigger, and then you know what I mean, right? So anyway, we don't want to watch the entire assembly video, just the interesting part that I can kind of show you what to expect. Yeah, right, let's let it play. Okay, so if you put it in, you can, this metal rod is going to be your trigger mechanism. Can you see over here when he press, there is actually an external rod, and then there's an internal rod that you put in. You will pull, this thing is going to move the internal rod in and out. Okay, it's going to interact with some some mechanism at the back of the blaster to push away catch. So everything is external, right? In a way, in the internal portion is the slide as well as the plunger itself. Okay, so that is something interesting. Now let's go on to another place. Okay, and let's take a look at what I have. Okay, so over here you can see that the inside is nothing much, and just simply slide everything in. Right, so this, okay, so this thing is going to interact for the trigger release. So I'm not too sure whether it's a good thing or bad thing. It's external, so there is a tendency that you might knock on it, and then who knows, okay, and that damage your kind of your blaster. Right, certainly interesting. And how does it release? We'll look later. Let's move on to next segment. So this is the internal. Okay, as I said, the whole thing is going to be slide in to the tube. So this portion, I guess you must ensure that a good air seal. Okay, so the bolt is here, and then this will later on you probably attach a priming bar over here. You can see that it's reinforced by so many metal rods. And yeah, so again this is going to slide in and out of so-called the tube. Pretty sure you have to like loop these portions to ensure a good kind of sliding. Yeah, let's take a look. Okay, so basically just slot in the entire assembly, everything. Okay, yeah, push everything in, and then when you put it back down, and then you probably attach this rail to the portion there, and then you attach priming bar. Right, that's what I gather. Okay, now let's take a look at the plunger itself. Okay, which pretty interesting. And there is the timeline for that. Okay, I think it's around here. Okay, so just now I talked about yeah, using a ball bearing. Okay, as you can see over here. Okay, so this is the ball bearing. Okay, this is the mechanism where it's gonna house all this thing, and then when you prime it back, it's supposed to catch this thing. So I believe this ball bearing, the one that's gonna go here and catch here, right? So to release, you have to push away the ball bearing towards the back. You just roll off, and then this whole thing will. Yeah, I find that also pretty interesting. Rather than a plate, you always use a kind of a plate, okay, then some anchor kind of stuff, and then back this up and down. Sometimes it can be quite not as smooth. I'm very interested in it's a ball bearing like this. Okay, how smooth is this going to be? So the ball bearing is going to go in house inside here, this tube over here. So I think the tube design is probably going to be either another circle. Okay, the spring is probably going to go around the circle. Okay, and then this plunger tube over here. Of course, this over here is going to be inserted in the internal cylinder here, so that you don't kind of mess up with the spring, and of course probably after you kind of push it to a certain limit, the ball bearing is somewhere inside, and then can interact with the piece over here. Well, that's just my speculation. I'm not too sure is that how it works. Okay, let's move on to the next segment. But it's certainly interesting to take a look at the possibility of that. Okay, right, so as you can see, the whole thing. Okay, so we are talking about the internal diameter of 3.6 centimeters. Okay, and you can see the spring is massive. I'm sure you can upgrade the spring, probably, like. Alright, and then of course this portion, like I say, there's probably an external and internal cylinder kind of thing, okay, whereby you scoop in, and then the part whereby you push the pusher all the way, the plunger all the way back. That piece is going to catch with the ball bearing, and Mm. And basically the rest is just putting in some spring and then assembling it. Okay, apologize for the video kind of quality. You can see that when press the racks with the back. Yeah. All right. So okay, so once assembled, this is the worker mag. So done. Right. Okay, so this is the SweetHeart. I find this interesting. So this is the block, as you can see. So we have a closer look at the material. You can take your time to go through it. Again, I probably will put the link down. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. So this is the back mechanism. So I'm not too sure. So this could be one of the weaker point of the blaster. If anything got damaged, probably the spring and whatnot. It's a little bit exposed. Yeah. Okay. So this is the again the so-called the mechanism at the back. I'll say this is the part where I probably face the problem. But nevertheless, it's still interesting. Right. Okay. Yeah. So now the firing demo. Okay. How long can it hold? It says it actually holds. The air seal can last for 10 seconds. So first video it prime. Second video it will kind of release. And let's take a look at the second video and see. Capture the. Please. Let's go. So you fire off, you can get a tick. 10 seconds. Okay, so I guess you can hear the air seal is still there after 10 seconds. This is pretty nice. Okay, yeah. So there you go. This is the SweetHeart. My God, will it be my new SweetHeart? My God, so tempting. I think I need a discussion with Wallet for the video. So thanks for watching. I hope you find this thing. Hit a like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notification. I'll see you. Thank you.